Hey everybody, what's going on? Eric here, and welcome back to my channel. Right now you're looking at the ESP LTD Deluxe EC 1000 Black Cherry, well, black see-through cherry, which is a quilted maple top. I don't know if you can see that or not. And this also has the, I like to call it the Cosmo Black Chrome hardware on it. Some people say that it's like a black chrome, but a lot of other companies will call it like Cosmo Black or something like that. And this has the EMGs 80 and 60, or 8160 on it. Pneumatic bridge, standard tailpiece. Very nice guitar. They carried the body flaming, or the quilt maple top and binding into the headstock. Very nice inlays on the neck. Now this guitar, you can either get it with the ebony fretboard or you can get it with the rosewood. I believe this is the ebony fretboard on this one. Three-way selector switch, volume, tone, and yeah, I want to get into some specs of this guitar. So you have a mahogany body, a mahogany neck. You also have a, not so much of a heel joint over here, but you do see where they glued the body to the neck. There is no scarf joint, no heel joint over here. It's a one-piece neck. Guitar's got a little bit of weight to it. Doesn't feel too bad, but it does have a little bit of weight to it. And in the classic Les Paul style, well, somewhat. The horn's a little bit different on this than it would be on a Les Paul. You have a belly body cutout, and you also have a cutout right here for getting into those frets at the bottom of the neck. Now, what I want to do with this is restring it and do a setup on it. I haven't done anything since I've gotten this guitar. Haven't done nothing with it. And yeah, so let's kind of get to it. Alright, first off, checking with the micrometer, see what size strings are on here, and this thing came with 10s. So, go to the trusty wall of tools, and here is a set of Cobalt Slinky Ernie ball sacks 10s. Now, what I want to do is I kind of want to go over some of the specs on this thing that I find out of the box. Now again, this thing has not been set up. Nothing has changed on it as far as I know of, besides being a little bit, you know, the atmosphere of my home kind of settling in it now, and things should be like kind of like resting where, you know, wherever they may lay. So I'm going to get my little toolkit over here. I got my little card for measuring the action height. And I have my little feeler gauges. Now, again, like I said, this thing has not been changed. Nothing has been moved on. So first off, I want to see what my action height at the 12th fret is going to be on this thing. And it's a little under 5/64 on the low side and a little under a 16th on the high side. And that's kind of where I like it to be. So the guitar is not in tune. So if I go ahead and tune her up, I end up putting my trusty little tuner on the wall over here. Now this should kind of be done, you know, in playing position, but I'm not going to do it in playing position. I'm just going to go ahead and check things out where they be. Now this has the Grover's locking tuners on it, I think. No, they got the ESP locking tuners, I think, on here. Intonation's pretty damn close. So now what I'm going to do is check out what I have as far as relief goes in this neck. Using a 12 thousandths feeler gauge, let me unplug this. 12 thousandths feeler gauge, somewhere around the 17th fret. Hold down, put the capo at the 1st fret, and yeah, there is like not much relief in this neck at all. Yeah, there's not much relief in this neck at all. It's pretty damn straight. So if I do pick, where's my guitar? So if I go ahead and it's not bad. I don't hear too much fret noise at all, but the neck should have a little bit more relief than that inside of it. I'm moving the string up pretty damn high. And another thing I want to do is, since it's in tune right now, I want to check my 18 thousandths. And let's check to see what this action height the 1st fret is. Now that can go down a little bit. It's not too bad. You can go down a little bit. It's pretty reasonable right where it's at. It's not quite 18 thousandths. It's probably 19 thousandths, give or take a hair, but not too bad. Now, this guitar came with, what do they call it? Dardanios, man, I had the name on the tip of my fucking tongue. Dardanios. And these strings are showing signs of rust on them. So what I want to do is I want to change these strings out. I don't think there's anything wrong with the right? I don't think there's anything wrong with these strings, but you know, they are showing signs of crap on them for some reason, for something that's supposed to be new. And yeah, let's kind of look at that a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it or not, but for new strings, you can kind of see a little bit of crap on them. I feel it just a little bit, not much. So these guys are going to go. Alright, so as you can see, I got a little bit more room on this bench now. I moved some stuff around, moved some stuff over, and yeah, let's get these strings off of here. Now these have the oh man, I can't read it. Well, they say LTD tuners on them. That's all they say, but they're locking tuners that came on this thing. Alright, so that's that. Nice thing about this guitar as well is the bridge and the tailpiece also are locking. Be very careful taking these off because you can scratch your finish. This is a very nice finish and I don't want anything just to happen to it just yet. Alright, since we have the strings off the guitar, notice the tailpiece and bridge have not moved or fallen off or anything. There's a little set screw on each side. Kind of locks them in place. It's kind of a good idea. So let's see how straight this neck is without the strings on it. A little bit of a back bow. So I'm going to straighten the neck out. And it should be a 4 millimeter. Put that right in the center. And let's check this out. Not bad. There's my trusty little LED flashlight. Check to see if there's any light coming through the gaps, or any gaps coming through. It's a little bit in the center. And that's about it. She's good right there. Now, I was watching a video and they were using one of these rockers, fret rockers, and I hate to say it, that she was kind of doing it wrong. And there is a right way of using this. There's a reason why there are 4 sides on this thing. You use your longer side, go between 3 frets, 3 frets, 3 frets, 3 frets, 3 frets. Oh, now I'm getting to 4 frets. Okay, so now I switch it, 3 frets, and so on. And you start getting tighter, you change it over to another side. Not bad at all. And as you start getting closer to the bottom, you want to switch it over to the smaller side. And this is not bad at all. Alright, so what should I do next? Well, I do want to polish these frets a little bit. That's something I do want to do. So what I'm going to use is a little bit of Mother's, and I'm going to polish these frets. First, I have to get some rags. Voila, a rag just appeared. So these frets aren't too bad at all. I do want to shine them up a little bit more. So I just use a little bit of fret. I mean, you could mask off the fretboard if you want. I am not going to. Now, some people like to use a Dremel for doing this with one of these polishing wheels. I am not one of those persons. Reason being is because the Dremel wheel will turn black like this, and as you're cleaning your frets, you're just basically smearing that black all over. This is not going to take much at all. Alright, I'm going to finish up with this and start stringing it up and doing a little bit of a setup on it. Alright, I'm back and just finishing up with the last of the frets. So this is what I got off of it. That's from the metal in the frets, or the oxidation that's on the frets. Alright, so what's next? Well, let's start stringing her up, because everything else is pretty much kind of where I want it to be. So I'm going back with another set of 10s. This time I'm using the Ernie balls. For some reason I like these strings. Alright. Remember, kind of be careful of stringing up your instrument, because you do not want to scratch her up. Now, the way that they say to set this thing up is to basically put the string in like this, tighten up the lock, and then tune it up. Which reminds me, speaking about tightening up, I want to check out the, yeah, these guys were loose. And a bad idea to go over stuff and tighten it up if need to be. And these, you don't want to tighten them too tight, because you can crack the finish. So just kind of snug them up real nice. And this is a 10 millimeter. Alright, so basically tighten up, cut off the extra, like so. And I'm going to plug it back in. Turn my tuners on. I got 2 tuners over here. And kind of start tuning this thing up a little bit. Alright, that's that. Alright, next. Make sure you are lined up in the saddles. String her through. A little tension on it. And lock her back up. Cut off the extra. And start to tune it up. We'll get a roundabout. There you go. Next. Lay it in position. Make sure everything's where it's supposed to be in the saddles. Tighten her up. Cut off the extra. Alright, so you get the point, and I'm going to go ahead and continue to string this up, and I will be right back. Alright, so I'm on the last string. Locking it up. Clip off the extra. Get rid of the extra. Don't want this shit sticking around. Tune up this last string. Alright, so next thing on after stringing it up is stretching them out. So and doing this without breaking them. Alright, and then having to retune. I gotta say, these ESP locking tuners, they turn like glass. They are so smooth when you turn them. I do not need this no more. I do not need the flashlight no more. What I do need is to wash my hands. I got the crap from the fucking mothers all over it, so I'll be back. Alright, just got back from washing my hands next to having a sink in the basement. So what I want to do now is find my 12,000s. Now I've noticed something with straightening out the neck, like perfectly flat, when the strings are off, and then putting the strings back on under tension, the neck will kind of bow itself into 12,000s. Now I know on 9s, the neck will give itself relief after you straighten it out under string tension, and it'll come up at 12,000s at the 9th fret. So let's see how close I am right now. Once I get the angle of the shit, looks like it's right at 12,000s. So let's check the action height, because that I want to keep it at a certain level. Yeah, I gotta bring it down just a little bit, not much. So adjusting the action height right here, guys, right here. If you don't have to do anything at the nut, then you'll be doing it at the bridge. So how do I adjust this? Well, I need an Allen key first. And most likely it's probably metric. Let's see here. Little tiny one, huh? Loosen these guys. Oh, this one was loose. And loosen this one here. Sometimes you can't get into a real tight space, especially on like a Floyd Rose bridge or something, to set the intonation on there. But with one of those Allen keys that has the ball on the other end of it, you can go on angles with it. Works out great. Alright, give me my flathead screwdriver. Make sure it fits in the hole, because I don't want to sit there and adjust this. Unless I could do it with my fingers. Maybe I could do it with my fingers. So let's see here. I got 5/64. It's a little bit high. I'm going to put that back down to where it was. A little bit under 5/64. Be very careful with this. Okay. And I'm going to go with 1/16. Right on the money. Nice. I could probably go down a little bit further if I wanted to. Let's say I wouldn't say 3/64. I don't think this will go down that far. Yeah, I think 3/64 would be too much. So I'm under 5/64 right now, so I'm probably right at 4/64 right now on that low E. You want to snug these guys up a little bit. I like how these lock. Like I said, I wouldn't be able to get in there flat like this, but I can go in on an angle like this. Don't over tighten. Let's plug her back in, turn her back up. Now you would be doing this in playing position, but I am not. Alright. Alright, so let's see where we fall at the 12th fret. Right on the money. That one can go back a little bit. So I need my, what is this? Phillips. Oh man. Sorry about that if you saw that. The back just kicked in. The weather's been giving me a real rough time. I don't know if you noticed this or not on these bridges, but they've got plastic bushings inside of them now. Yeah, the weather has been really screwing with my back, and man, that's part of it. Bingo. Bingo. Can't ask for anything better than that. I can go back a little bit. Done. Setup is done. Pretty freaking easy, huh? So that is the ESP LTD Deluxe EC 1000. And I can put the truss rod cover back on because I am done. There is no more that I need to do to this guitar right now. besides maybe tune it back up tomorrow after the string stretched a little bit more. One thing you don't want to do is strip out any of these screws, because once you start stripping out some of these screws, you never get them back in right. Alright, so it seems like everything seems to be right, or okay, or no problems, and yeah. So I'm done. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And sorry you had to see my back tweak on like my back tweak like that on me. Sometimes it happens. Move the wrong fucking way. Anyways, take care all. Have a good one. And catch up with you all later. Oh, and by the way, something I left out that's kind of important too on setting up a guitar is the angle of your strings from the bridge, from the saddles to the tailpiece. Now, you do not want the strings resting on top of the edge of your Tune-O-Matic bridge. And you want to be able to get like a piece of paper to slide underneath there pretty damn loosely. So, which in this case here, because I lowered the bridge down, it wasn't touching before I started this. So it's not touching now. As you can see, they all move freely. So that is another important thing that you want to check on when you're setting up anything with a Tune-O-Matic bridge and a tailpiece. Sometimes you have to raise up the tailpiece to clear the bridge. In this case here, didn't really have to do that. It cleared to begin with. The guys over at ESP set up pretty damn good, so I'm not going to complain about how this thing was set up at all. It was pretty good to begin with, not too bad. I think I will go back later on and kind of adjust the nut a little bit. Just bring the strings down just a little bit more. On one guitar I had, there was 9 thousandths of clearance between the string, and I had a lot of fret buzz on it. I ended up having to replace the nut. So that's it. This is her, she, it, whatever you want to call it. And it's done. So I can say good night to you all. It is about 2 o'clock in the morning right now. And the reason why I'm up is because my back is bothering me, and it's not letting me get comfortable to sleep. So I might as well do something productive, right? Take care all.